None of that crazy.
So somebody asked a question because apparently there was a discussion online about Latinos' role in hip hop, early hip hop, and Caribbeans' roles in early hip hop.
Right. I mean, I saw Tariq Nasheed asking, was Puerto Ricans involved with hip hop? And the answer is yes. Yes, undoubtedly yes. From the very, remember, if you're talking the South Bronx, if we're talking, now, let me preface this by saying hip hop has no birth date, right? So if we're talking about the spirit of the drum, the spirit of the dozens, art, all of that stuff is ancient. So probably no, they had nothing to do with that aspect. I'm only talking about from 1973, the current paradigm to the present day. They were there from the beginning. Most of them played a role in the graffiti and in the breakdancing, but we had DJ Charlie Chase, DJ Wiz. These are some Spanish DJs. Ruby D, Prince Whip is Spanish. DLB, Peso from the Fearless Four. The list goes on of DJs who were there from the beginning.
And those are all because people just asked you to name them, and you already just named some people.
So. Okay, yeah. So those were people who were there from the beginning, and we can't deny that. Even my DJ, Lou Breakbeat Flores, he did all of the ultimate breaks and beats, which made a lot of these dudes rich. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't know how to dig in the crates, and he compiled that. He's been my DJ since 1982. All right, so process that, and he was the DJ before that. You see what I'm saying? So when we start talking about early presence in hip hop, Dr. Dre used the break beats, Tyreek. You know what I mean? So that's how him and Eazy-E met, from what I understand, in the record store looking over break beats. So there's always been a presence, and then it just they became their own tribe. So when it came down to the b-boying and boogieing, that seems to be where their DNA resonated the most. Or with the graph writers, we became the MCs and most of the DJs, but it was really all one thing. So for as far as I can remember, and I've been in hip hop since 77.
So because people like to fragment the history on founders and everybody else when there are so many different components that added to hip hop.
And somebody said, well, it didn't just happen in the Bronx. No, it originated in the Bronx with DJ Kool Herc. I don't think there's any refuting that. All right, and it spread fast to many different places. Also, while hip hop was coming up, salsa was coming up. So a lot of the Spanish brothers were creating the salsa scene, but the ones who wasn't with the salsa, they immediately resonated to hip hop. So yeah, the Boogie Down Bronx. If anybody tell you anything else other than Kool Herc, then they need to get their history in order. All right.
And this is from the author of Hip Hop Dakota.
Yes.
Put some respect on the structure.
Yes. He was saying who was a creator akin to a Grandmaster Caz. Well, in Caz's group, the Cold Crush Brothers, was DJ Charlie Chase, is what I'm telling you. He was one of the first Spanish DJs we gave. They were in the same crew. And speaking of Grandmaster Caz, his first DJ, even before Charlie Chase, was a DJ named Wiz. I speak about him in my book. He was Spanish. So when we start speaking about Caz and the contribution, you know what I mean? And then I remember Caz made a couple of controversial statements about the Spanish people's contributions to hip hop. I think it may have been taken out of context, but as far as I remember, I'm not a historian, I'm a mystorian. So I dealt more with the mysteries of hip hop. The history comes from those who were in the trenches, right? I told you I showed up in 77. This had been going on, and I was only 9 years old at the time. This had been going on by the older guys on the block since at least 73, and according to Almighty KG of the Cold Crush Brothers, it goes back even further than that to 1971, where, you know, so
there were contributions.
That's yes, plenty of contributions.
Saying not the founders, but if he's saying contributions,
Smokey and the Lockatrons in 1971, who Grandmaster Flash used to carry their records. That's how far back this thing goes. So, and then and I'm gonna say this. They can't all get together and agree on the history either. They all get together, and it's always somebody who feel, well, my contributions.
I saw Grandmaster Flash diss video for Herc. I was like, whoa,
yes. You see what I'm saying?
What's happening?
Right. So they can't even agree on themselves what needs to be done. Because I remember I sat with KRS One, and he was saying he was trying to create this
Curriculum.
a curriculum by which every college would follow this particular curriculum, because you got a lot of college professors who ain't never been to a jam in the park, don't know what it's like to dig in the crates, steal electricity from the light pole, none of that kind of stuff, and yet they're teaching these courses because hip hop is worth being taught now, but they never experienced none of it. A lot of them be stealing. I did a lecture, and there was 3 professors there as I was doing the lecture. Black guys, well put together, and they were taking a lot of notes. So what KRS One said, listen, if anybody, we should be the ones that teach this, but they can't all get together to agree, because it has to be one agreed upon history.
Right.
You came, you did that. You came, you did that. And if they can't do that, then
it's because like people like when there's so many different people with something as big as hip hop, like they have their perspective on a lot, and when you revisit a lot of that stuff, you change it from details.
Of course. Listen,
it's a lot,
I went
bro.
to see the park recently, and now as a kid, when I was 9 years old, this park was humongous.
And it's tiny.
And it's tiny now.
Yeah.
And Herc was 9 feet tall to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Cool Herc. And you see him, stand behind the turntables. This nigga looked like the Predator. He had his dreads and shit, and was the biggest dude I ever saw.
Yeah.
Right? Now I stand next to Herc. He's still a little big, but I'm like, so your perspective changes as you get older, and some of the history is revisited, and it is, what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I understood what Tariq was saying, but I wanted to clarify some things for him. So yes, of Grandmaster Caz, right off his tree is a couple of Spanish individuals who've made contributions.
All right.